A very good morning. EURUSD has continued to push down lower, which was pretty much in line with what we expected. The overall order flow held and yes, suppressed price, pushing it down lower, back down towards this point of liquidity, which is now being swiped. And now again, we can start looking for potential turnarounds, but we will be waiting until the market provides that turnaround to us. So what does that actually mean? Well, it means that we are going to wait for a change in the overall market structure, because the current market structure here on EURUSD, and especially if you go down to the lower time frame, being the 4-hour, is very clearly that the overall order flow is holding bearish, right? We've had the supply zone here, then we had the overall supply zone over here, and now we have the overall buy before the sell supply zone right over here. So with that order flow holding and pushing price down lower, we can continue to look for further downside. Now, looking at the daily time frame does provide us with potential upside still, as I have been talking about for quite some time. However, for the average intraday trader, that overall upside push that I'm talking about is just a little bit too long-term horizon, meaning that yes, you might have an area of demand or you've had liquidity here and then you're looking for a long, but you guys most of all will use smaller stop losses, so I understand. So what I'm going to say is that wait for order flow now to shift, because look, the market structure is still bullish for EURUSD on the daily time frame, right? We still had the breaker structure here in towards the upside, meaning that this here is the swing low, this here is the swing high. We've taken out final liquidity and we've seen the overall internal market structure trend shift bullish, right? We had the push down, pull back, push down, pull back, push down, and then we had a strong push up. So this here is your overall impulsive phase. Within that impulsive phase, we have liquidity here, and maybe 1 point of liquidity over here. So these 3 points can push the market up higher. However, what we're going to be waiting for, let's say, ideal setups to play out is a market structure shift, order flow shift internally, and then we can start looking for a long, because then we'll form an area of demand, and then from there we can look for further upside potential. Now, good morning, guys. My name is Fabio, and again, thanks for tuning into another market update. So it ends up being the right decision that we closed out EURUSD for now, and we are currently trading at a discount. We've taken out liquidity, so all we need now is the market structure shift to confirm that EURUSD actually wants to head up higher. And once that happens, once that market structure shift happens, that is the point that I'll be looking for potential longs. Other than that, focus on the short-term downside for now. However, I don't think that EURUSD is the best expression for a potential short. I would then rather be in a GBPUSD, which I'll break down in a second. Now, looking at the dollar index, again pushed up higher yesterday, taking out major liquidity, which is resting above this high. Now again, let's monitor what happens around this high. If, let's say, the order flow were to shift in towards the downside, that could mean the start of some further downside again on the dollar index. But other than that, the dollar index here for myself is just consolidating and moving sideways. So my focus doesn't lie too much on the dollar index for now. In addition to that, I don't expect too much of massive dollar movements until later this month, where on the 28th of January, we have the FOMC press conference with Jerome Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve, talking about monetary policy and what we can expect for the dollar this year. So I'll most likely wait with the real bigger swings until we either really see that confirmation like we saw on EURUSD, like I just explained, where we want to see that market structure shift, or I'll not yet take any other positions. Now, GBPUSD, I shared yesterday inside Discord that I took a short position. So I'm in a short position currently on GBPUSD, running around 0.3% in profit. Yesterday we went up around 60 pips. Looking currently for this to continue, we've seen the double daily fractal break at the moment take place, where we had obviously here the first breakdown, and now yesterday we've had the second breakdown, meaning that after taking out final liquidity here, with the market structure being bearish from this high in towards this low, we are bearish. We've taken out final liquidity. We are trading at premium pricing. So the overall short positions do look good. We've had a double fractal break here in towards the downside on the daily. We've rejected the yearly and the 3 monthly open here as well. So for myself, enough confluence to keep on looking for further downside, though the price action is still relatively squeezy, meaning that the overall price action isn't really, let's say, too sustained, because currently trends don't really persist too much with current price or with current liquidity levels in January still being relatively low. Now, keep in mind that we still have liquidity open here, for example. So if we do look for shorts in the future, price can still easily pull back. What I would obviously prefer to see happening is maybe today, somewhat of a small pullback and then just continuation, because then we're just building up liquidity slash bumps in the road for future moves. And then on any potential pullback, when we get the bullet or the bearish confirmation, then we can look for higher probability short plays to come into play. So that's what I would be waiting for in GBPUSD. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So taking here at the first swing position, stop loss safely above the daily liquidity high. If we were to move into stop loss, then I'll just look for another short position if we do see a daily fractal break in the extreme imbalance here, as then we can place the stop loss safely here. So looking for shorts on GU, took a first position here, and let's say we do hit stop loss, I'll be looking for a second position from here. But overall, I am confident in GP sells with the overall weakness that I'm expecting from the pound. Though not only on GBPUSD did we take shorts, or could we take shorts also GBPAUD, but GBPAUD already moved quite a lot in towards the downside, and EURGBP. Again, I updated these pairs inside Discord, but EURGBP also looking for potential sustained push up higher, but it's just consolidating as of yet still. But GBPUSD is my top pick, as I obviously mainly trade those GBP pairs. Then going into AUDUSD and NZDUSD. So AUDUSD continued pushing up higher again from the overall yearly open and demand. Myself, again, not trading this pair just because of the consolidative price action that we have in here. I'll really have to wait for, let's say, another break up, and then we can look for some more longs again over here. So yeah, just going to be waiting for another break in towards the upside, and once we see another market structure shift break, then I'll look for longs in towards the highs. But obviously we're still bullish, and the only short that you can look for is if market structure were to fill here, then you could look for a short. Other than that, longs are obviously still on the table with breaker structure up, swing low, swing high. So it only makes sense to look for longs, not for shorts yet. And also with the yearly open and daily demand still being in control, shorts just don't make sense until we see that market structure shift. Then NZDUSD. NZDUSD is still consolidating as of this week. Slow week for NZDUSD overall. I am waiting still for a breakout in either direction. We need to see the push up, pull back, and then the push up again. That would be a nice long where we see the order flow shift, or I need to see this low here get taken out, and then from there we can look for another long again. As simple as that. Going into USDJPY, USDJPY has dropped a little bit again overnight. Nothing too interesting. Still, guys, USDJPY is only a buy until we see currency intervention. So the only risk for the downside on USDJPY comes from currency intervention risk. Meaning that the Central Bank of Japan buys its own currency, boosting overall demand and strengthening the Japanese yen, because in their eyes, USDJPY is at unsustainable levels at around 160, because you're importing a lot of inflation. What does this mean, importing inflation? Well, when a currency weakens so much against another currency as USDJPY has done in such a short amount of time, let's say, first of all, let's say $1 was 140 JPY, right? But then what happens is that $1 becomes 160 JPY. So that means that overall the currency, let's say the dollar against the yen becomes 13% stronger. That means that it's 13% cheaper ultimately for people in the United States to import products. But it also means that it's much more expensive for people in Japan to buy products from the USA. And then this is then calculated onwards into the Japanese, let's say society. So people like you and myself who then buy products have to pay more for it once it comes from, let's say, different countries, because importers will need to pay a higher price. Now, the government doesn't like that because that raises inflation. So they're going to be looking for potential currency intervention. But to be honest, I haven't heard anything about it just yet officially. So that means that we can still just focus on longs once we see the market structure shift internally. So let's say the 4-hour market structure shifts, then we can look for longs again. Other than that, just wait and be slightly cautious, as we're obviously trading after the overall break of structure line here. Deeper retracements. So for example, let's say we take out some of these lows, that would be obviously the ideal overall buying opportunity, or from around the yearly open. USDCAD. What can we see from that pair? USDCAD in itself, very, very slow still. Demand still in control. Nothing really else to say other than, demand is still in control. You can't look for shorts because demand is still in control. But longs, on the other hand, are, let's say, oh yeah, order flow is holding, but it's just not a pair that I really like trading at the moment because it's just kind of like squeezing and ranging here. So my focus is not really on there. USDCHF, yeah, concede pushing up higher yesterday, and for now, again, order flow still holds. So as long as the order flow does still hold, we can still look for longs. Obviously, we're, let's say, nearing somewhat of a supply zone here, or imbalance, but this is not my ideal shorting zone or imbalance zone due to the fact that it is built on descending highs here. Also, these highs in itself are descending, so I would prefer for some more upside still from USDCHF for now. Yeah, that's pretty much that. And then, of course, we have gold, last of all. So on gold, I'm still looking for further upside and still expecting further upside. We're still seeing potential risks towards Iran, where we are potentially over the course of this weekend, going to see some escalations in the Middle East. Any escalations over the weekend would cause gold to gap up higher. Obviously, last weekend as well, we gapped up higher quite a lot on gold. So the same could again happen this weekend, as Trump tends to act over the weekend when liquidity is low. If we do see somewhat of a spike down lower, then obviously that will be the buying opportunity. But I will be keeping an eye open to see if we can get into a buy once we break out of this descending price action that we're seeing here. So keep your eyes open. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see a breakout over the weekend. So if we do break out of this kind of like squeezing price action that we're currently seeing here, then I will be looking to capitalize on that buying opportunity. And gold tends to rally on Friday afternoon. So if we do see that breakout, I will be getting into a gold buy opportunity with the retest there, and then stop loss underneath, and then just hold and swing it up higher. So this is one of my main positions that I'm looking at for just today. And then obviously GBPUSD for the shorts. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Wish you all a fantastic trading day and speak soon.